Hello there, and welcome to Find Your Voice. My name is Joe Cramond, and I'm the host of the show. Today, we have a very special guest, Laurent Notin. He's an entrepreneurial coach, trainer, a podcast host, and a CrossFit enthusiast. Laurent, welcome to Find Your Voice. How are you?
I'm very, very good. Thank you, Joe, for having me.
Brilliant. So, if you just want to elaborate a little bit, Laurent, on what your expertise is and what you're about.
Sure, sure. So I started my own entrepreneurial journey as a business coach, well, an entrepreneur coach, in October 2017. After having worked for SMEs and entrepreneurs all my life, I used to work in Southeast Asia for 20 years, and I think you guys are based in Singapore, aren't you?
Well, I'm
And
actually based in the UK, but our company,
right,
yeah, our head office is based in Singapore. That's correct.
yeah, yeah. And I've always enjoyed mentoring, advising people, giving them advice. But and then I realized that it was time that I do something. I was reaching the age of 40. I was like, if I don't do it now, I will never do it. And so one day I woke up and that's it. I'm gonna be a business coach and for entrepreneurs because I've always worked for entrepreneurs and because it just made complete sense to me, and
Yeah,
this is what I've been doing for 5 years. So today I help entrepreneurs stop being what I call the bottleneck in their businesses, which is basically, help them get unstuck. Because when
hmm,
you're an entrepreneur, it's very, very, very easy to get stuck. But the thing is, entrepreneurship is a mindset. It starts here in your head. And a typical way of being stuck is, when you're lost into details. Like you're doing all the work yourself all the time, which and then you end up being stuck. So which means that your business is stuck because you don't have the ability to take a step back and look at the big picture and focus on strategy, for instance. So this is where I come in and help entrepreneurs.
That's really interesting. Yeah, no, I think the entrepreneurial life is one of them where we have to wear many hats. We're kind of
Yeah.
doing a bit of everything because it's kind of a control factor as well of just making sure that if it's your business that you want things run the right way.
Yep.
However, the time factor of taking on all of those tasks rather than putting that and trust into somebody else to take over for you is something is challenging. Like you said, it's a mindset shift of releasing some of that sort of control onto somebody else to be able to manage it for you. Yeah, it'd be really, really useful sort of advice that you can offer on that one. Okay, Laurent, what we're going to do for our audience is go through some sort of quick fire questions
Sure.
just to learn a bit more about what you do and your backstory. So we'll start off with the first question. If you had a business card, because not many people do nowadays, but what would it say? How would you summarize?
You know what? When I was in Asia, I had a business card because in Asia, everybody has a business card. This is the first thing
Mm,
that you do to introduce yourself. I moved to Finland with and I printed business cards with me before moving to Finland. Nobody uses the business cards here. Your business card is basically a LinkedIn.
yeah, exactly.
So I don't have a business card anymore. But what my business card would say is basically what my LinkedIn profile would says, which is the entrepreneur coach that gets you unstuck. Stop being the bottleneck in your business.
Yeah,
That's
very, very good.
really, really what I want to be known for.
No, that's perfectly put. So why on paper should you have never been successful?
Never been successful.
Yeah. So what went on in the past that you thought, you know what, people had doubts or you had doubts about yourself? What would you say
Oh my
back
God.
then?
I remember until maybe when I moved to Asia. I remember people always telling me that I was not mature enough, and
Right.
because of that, I would never be able to succeed. And this is something that it is true. Actually, I wasn't mature enough. They were right, and this is something that I've been working on a lot, and that comes to my self confidence.
Hmm. In some ways, though, it's not a very good thing for people to say to keep your self confidence up, is it? Kind of that's quite, even though everyone's got the opportunity to mature, but it depends on the age you are, I guess, as
Yeah,
well. It's like,
yeah.
how old were you when people were saying this?
In my 20s, early 20s.
Okay. Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah. And then and Sam, you know, it's funny how life is, because I moved to Laos. I was 23. I
Mm,
started working for this small research company, and after a year, the owners, the company's owners, they decided to move to Cambodia because there were more opportunities, but they needed someone to run the business. And I was the only white person there. They didn't trust their staff, so by default, they trusted me. And so they told me, "Well, you're going to run the business." Well, but they made sure to tell me that we don't trust you. Also, we don't trust you because you're not mature enough, but you're going to run the business.
mm.
And this is
That's
all
a vote
my
of confidence.
yeah. It didn't help,
Yes.
but working, being sent into doing the hard work, being
Mm.
getting my hands dirty. I've always loved that from day one, and this is how I built my confidence step by step.
No, that's really impressive. Well, I suppose in some respects, it's a strategy to try and like make you think, wow, I've got to now sort myself out and start being more mature about things. But excuse me, as a way of doing it. And at least you've come through that and you've realized that was probably something that they may have misread about you. So if we asked 10 of your old schoolmates about you, how would they have described you back in
Oh
school
man,
days?
it depends at what age.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
Because I've changed so much. I
Mm,
mean, honestly, when I was in high school, all the way to the end of high school, I was very shy. Uh, Again, lack of self confidence. Didn't I was one of the best in my class all the way until the end of high school. Though I remember my math teacher thought I would become an engineer. Far from it. Then I started opening up and being more friendly, more funny. When I went to university, partying too much
mm,
too. but but I think some of the elements that I've never changed, some of the qualities that I've always have is like, well, this friendliness. I've always been very friendly. I think I've always been very nice to people, which is why, helping people
cool.
is something that I've always enjoyed. And
Mm,
I see that in my kids too, today, which is really impressive. I'm kind of proud of that. And maybe curious. I've always tried to be curious, even though I was not showing it, but this is really
mm.
something that has defined me.
It sounds like you're very invested in people. You want to make sure that
Yeah,
people are getting results and you sort of take things on an emotional level, which is important. You're not just out
yeah,
for the money and the sale, it's out to really achieve those results for people. So that's really key.
yeah.
That's
I'm a
really
coach,
interesting.
man.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. So, that's the best coach you can be. So when was the last time you did something that scared you?
Oh, that's easy now.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Every time I speak on a podcast, every time I do
Mm,
something that where I know there is a little bit of public audience, I'm a bit scared. Even though I have experience, I'm still scared, and I think it's healthy because then it
yeah.
forces me to give my best. So I have to prepare better. I don't come here like saying, "Oh, I'm the best. I know what I'm doing." No,
Mm,
it forces me to question myself all the time.
yeah. Well, you're doing a very good job. You don't seem that scared or nervous. Don't
Thank you.
worry. I don't bite. I can't bite you through the camera. No, it'd be good.
If you were inside me right now, you would feel it. Trust me.
I can understand. Yeah, no, well, it's the same for me as well. I mean, I've gotten used to it, but it does. Again, we talk about this a lot in our programs and in our strategy when we talk to people that are interested in being guests on podcasts. The imposter syndrome is a big
Mm,
thing, and having these conversations online. But you've got to try and just forget that there's people watching. It's more about just the conversation between me and you, and just focus on that really. And the more you do it,
mm,
like it's like anything, you step out your comfort zone, it becomes second nature, and then you begin to really enjoy it as well. And it really helps you grow in all aspects of life because you can communicate better within business and in your personal life as well because
mhm.
you're just learning how to overcome those nerves. So it's really important. But so when it comes to advice, what do people seek you out for the most?
Well, this is what I do. Entrepreneurship. That's really what I want to specialize on. So I work with entrepreneurs, B2B or B2B2C,
Hmm.
most often. People who have been in the running their NSME for like maybe 4 or 5 years minimum, and they reach a plateau. They've been experiencing some good level of growth, but they reach a plateau, and they're stuck.
Yeah.
Somehow they know that they are stuck, but somehow they can't do anything about it for whatever reasons.
What would you find is the most common reason for that? What's the typical reason?
Typically, I mentioned it in the introduction. When you get your head lost into operations, you're an entrepreneur at the beginning of the journey. You do everything by yourself, right? But as the company grows, you should do a little bit less of those things. Take a step back, be less involved in operations, and so that you can concentrate on building the business around you, or below you. But it's very difficult for entrepreneurs to do that, and so they want to be they want to be everywhere at the same time. But you can't do that. You have to you have to be able to look at the big picture. So that is one. Go on. Sorry.
Would you say that's part of being the control aspect of just being in control? That's the thing. It's like, it's not a negative way that I'm sort of putting that. It's not like a control freak sort of thing. It's more about just putting your trust in things being done the way that you'd expect them to be done.
Yes, and then especially when it comes to quality standards. You've enjoyed your success, and so you build those quality standards, and you want to make sure that your clients always enjoy quality standards. And what I see over and again is entrepreneurs who remain in the project management. So they deal with clients because they are afraid that if they pass on the baby to someone else, the standards of quality will decrease. Standards they have been building for years.
Yeah, of course.
And that's very counterintuitive, because what you want is, this is actually an opportunity for you to increase the standards, to have someone else implement what you've been building and take it to the next level. And actually, this brings me to the second thing that I see a lot. The second most common bottleneck is the inability to let go. Right. So if you want the company to grow, your role must evolve. You must be, like I was saying, more and more focused on strategy, which means you need to let go.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to hire people, for instance. You need to hire leaders, and you need to let them make decisions for you. Because otherwise, what's the point of hiring people if you don't trust them? But to be able to do that, you have to let go. It is fine, but that takes time. There's a reason why most entrepreneurs refer to their companies as their babies. Would you
it's like
give
putting
your
your
baby
trust
to
in
a friend? Yes.
Yeah, it's like putting your trust in a child, someone who looks after your kid, a nanny or something. It's the same sort of thing. It's kind of like, you really are, your expectations are so high, or a copy, you want like a carbon copy of how you'd be, like a clone of yourself running your business that's got that little bit extra that can take it to the next level. But I mean, it's harder to find as well. I mean, you really need to do your due diligence when it comes to the recruitment process. And I'm guessing you teach, and that's part of your strategy as well, is that helping people recruit the right people to take their business forward. Yeah.
That's some of the things that I've been doing. I'm doing that right now with a client, actually. Helping him with recruiting the right people. And when it comes to recruiting people, we always think in terms of technical skills, but that is not the most important. The most important is the soft skills, the interpersonal skills, the attitude, the behaviors, because those cannot be taught. Technical skills you can always teach.
No, exactly. Well, Laurent, it's been absolutely wonderful. Obviously, this is a bit of a brief introduction, but I really appreciate your time. And where can we find more information out about you? Have you got a website or social handles that we can share?
So you can log on my website, www.laurentnotin.com. You will find all the information about me, or you can also reach out to me on LinkedIn, Laurent Notin.
Okay. Perfect. Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for your time. And just to let the audience know, if you wish to build out and be a part of the show and start doing more podcast guesting in front of established audiences, visit podcastguesting.pro, and we can have a conversation and build out a strategy for you of growth, thought leadership. So thank you very much for your time. And you've been very valuable to our audience, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You take care.